My name's Avigail. I came from Israel at the age of 10, and I've been here for 9 years, and I currently live in Salisbury, Nouveau-Brunswick. Shocking. It's a big change, especially that I didn't know the language when I moved here. Back then, everyone was pretty accommodating. Everyone made sure that I somewhat understood what was going on. There was this Russian kid in my class too, that he was translating everything in Russian for me. So that was also very nice. Overall, it was shocking, but it was a somewhat good experience. Back in Israel, in my middle school, we had to wear somewhat of a uniform. We had to wear this shirt that had the school logo, and we had to wear like jeans or leggings. But on Fridays, we had like a free day that we could wear whatever we wanted. Here, it was Friday every day. So you wore whatever you wanted as long as it accommodated to the like dress code, like no revealing clothing, no nothing like that. That it was all like pretty modest. Back in Israel, I had way more homework than I do here. I can tell you that for sure. Even as a second grader, third grader, fourth grader, I had way more homework back in Israel than I did here. Here was like everyone taught you in school, and then if they didn't finish the like materials, they would give you homework. At least in my school, they didn't really give you homework. Back in Israel, from what I do remember, is you would bring your own lunch. They didn't really have like a cafeteria or anything like that. From what I remember is you would sit in your home classroom because you wouldn't change classes, the teachers would change classes. So you would sit there and you would eat your lunch that you brought with you. But here, it's different. Here you have a cafeteria. Here you can't really eat in your classroom. You more eat in the cafeteria, and it's more divided by like friend groups, which didn't really find that fun because as a newcomer, you don't really have friends. So that was the biggest difference that I found. Back in Israel, I think they made a big deal of it. Like they would bring cake, they would dedicate the whole day to you. At least the teachers that did remember you had a birthday. But here, it's more like dedicated to your homeroom class. At least when we moved here in middle school, it was a little different. In high school, like your homeroom class would do a big deal of it. Like depends on the teacher. My teacher would bring us cupcakes and she would celebrate it with us for like the 20-30 minutes that we had with her in the beginning of the day. But then after that, most teachers didn't really care. I found it hard here just because I didn't really understand what kind of school activities they had. Back in Israel, like in the little area where my school was, there were like different classrooms that you could use for after school activities. Like I did gymnastics, and I did self-defense classes, not there, but in a different location for after school activities. But here it's more like musical almost. Like most people are doing choir and stuff like that, and it's just, I don't know, it was different for sure. In Israel, they took you more seriously. They didn't give you like the baby steps. Not really threw you off the deep end, but they also didn't treat you like a baby. And here, it's like they treat you like a baby. They take everything step by step, and it's just, for some people, if you learn faster, it's almost like you're too fast and they have to bump you up a class. And it's not really fair because back in Israel, you would learn with your peers and you would make sure that if you knew more, then the teacher would give you more subjects to learn in that class. They wouldn't bump you up necessarily unless you were really advanced. But here it's like the slightest part of you being advanced, you get bumped up a class or another too. In high school, you can take like university classes, depending on the high school and depending on the university, depending if you get accepted to and if you want to pay for it. But you can do that too. That's also a possibility. It's a really different system because like back in Israel, we were way more advanced in the like logical subjects. And here it's like 2 grades down, and it's just, okay, well, sure. If they care about you, I mean, I feel like that's pretty universal. If the teachers care for you and they see that you're struggling, they would come up to you and ask you what kind of thing they can do to help you. They would give you more material to study. They would contact your parents. I remember I was struggling in one of my classes back in Israel, and they contacted my parents and they asked like what kind of thing they can do to help my parents help me when I wasn't in school. So that was one of the things that a teacher can do. I feel like it's pretty universal from my school experiences. They don't really tolerate anything. Like, they don't tolerate any misbehavior. If you misbehave, you get kicked out of class and sent to the principal's office. Here, it's like you have multiple chances until you get kicked out of class, depending on the teacher. If your teacher's more lenient, they would give you like 3 chances, and then they would be like, okay, you go to the principal's office. But back in Israel, it's as soon as you misbehave, it's a privilege to be in class, so you get kicked out. And until you fix your behavior, you don't participate in class. If you misbehave, what are you doing in class? You know, like, yes, you're a 10-year-old kid in a 4th grade class, yes, but like, the way that our culture works is that you have to be extremely respectful, and you have to be respectful to your teachers, to your elders, to your parents, everything. At least that's the way that I was raised. Then again, I am a mixed culture. Back in Israel, it was mainly Israelis, so everyone had different like kind of upbringings. From what I remember is if you got kicked out of class, it's because you were misbehaving and you do not have the right to be in class until you fixed your behavior. It depends, because back in Israel, you kind of waited till the teacher stopped talking. You wouldn't like openly open your mouth and disagree with the teacher or ask questions. You would wait till they finish explaining what they were doing. And then if you had questions, you would ask them. Some people, they were more shy, so they wouldn't really openly ask the question. But if you were the class clown, then yeah, you would. I feel like it's the same here, except I learned that when in 4th grade or 5th or whatever, students kind of just burst out what they want to say, and it's like extremely disrespectful from what I've seen. And in like pre-middle school and middle school, it's like passable, but high school depends on your teacher. Some high school teachers do not tolerate that whatsoever. I also found out that it's weird, but back in Israel, you put your hand up with a finger up, and here you put your whole hand up, and it was just weird. So that was a weird difference. Back in Israel, you would kind of almost pull the teacher aside to disagree with them, not like openly, but you can do it openly depending on the teacher. But here, honestly, you would disagree with the teacher on the spot openly. That's just Canadian culture, in my opinion. But back in Israel, I feel like you have to be more respectful about it. My brother used to get bullied for a long time when we were back in Israel. From what I remember is he really struggled with it, and they didn't really do much about it. I feel like if you're open about the fact that you're getting bullied, they would do something about it. But if you're not openly like saying that you're getting bullied, they kind of would turn a blind side to it, and until you actually tell them, they wouldn't necessarily do something about it unless it's really good teachers that really do care about you, and then they would do something about it without being told that you're getting bullied. Here, I would say it's the same thing, because most teachers, I don't know, I feel like not a lot of people want to deal with students getting bullied. So if you don't openly say something about it, nothing will get done. And that too, it depends on your school district and your school principal and how much they really care about the students. Like, I had a friend here that she was getting bullied for multiple things and not much has been done about it. even though she's made complaints, she's talked to teachers, she's talked to the principal, and not much has been done about it. And I feel like back in Israel, something would have been done about it, no matter what. I would say it's probably like medium level, just because I was a really shy kid, so I had a really hard time. I would click with people, and then I would kind of be thrown aside because, like, you know, you're the new person in a new school, you're like the new shiny toy, and then once people get bored of you, they just kind of put you away. But I made some good friends after a couple months, probably, and it was hard in the beginning, but once like you get out of your comfort zone, it's easier to make friends, because mainly, like, if you don't go up to someone here, they don't really go up to you. So it's like you have to take the initiative to become friends with someone if you want to be friends with them. As a newcomer, language was definitely one part of it, because I only had the basics in English and I didn't know any French. And I got thrown into a French school and was like, okay, figure it out. So that was hard. Another barrier would probably still be friends, just because, like, as a newcomer, you don't have any friends, and it's hard to integrate yourself into a culture without having the basics from your friends. So that would also be a barrier. Also, like, again, linguistics. If your parents don't speak the same language that you go to school in, that's a big problem, because they can't help you if you need help with homework. They can't help you, like, if, for example, your parents need to go to a meeting with your teacher. How is it gonna work? Your parents don't speak French. Your teacher only speaks French. And you can't assist because it's about you. So how do you make it work? You don't. You just try and figure it out. So that was definitely a big barrier when we moved here. Honestly, a little bit of bullying too, because some people don't realize that when you move in to a different country, you don't speak the language that they speak. Or sometimes you do, but most times you don't. And you have a funny accent, you behave differently because you were raised differently. So some mean people would bully you just because of that. So that would be a challenge as well. Study-wise, probably the fact that some of my classes back in Israel were not given here. So it was just a big shock to my system that we had religious studies back in Israel. Like, we had some part of the Jewish Torah, which is what we learn. We had that back in Israel, and here we didn't, because mainly there's Christians and Catholics here. It was a big shock, and it was different. The Jewish religion, I would say, like the Jewish culture, Jewish religion, because a lot of people are very ignorant, and they don't realize that some things they say, some jokes, are very insulting to people who take a lot of pride in being a Jew, especially in our day and age. That, and also very universal, but some people still think that blondes are stupid. And I don't know why, but here it's no different. So the amount of times I've been called stupid because I was blonder when I was younger, it's kind of crazy. So that was also part of it. Some teachers were pretty mean for, like, your physical appearance. If you did not look the part, they would not give you the mind at all. Like, they would not care for you. And some things that they said, it was just like, wow, you're incredibly ignorant about a lot of things about my culture and my religion and stuff like that. And it was just like, you're a teacher, you should educate yourself about your students and not say universal things that don't apply for everyone. Like, for example, when it's around Christmas time here, I remember that one of my teachers tried to be inclusive, and she was forcing everyone to do, like, ugly Christmas sweaters. And she forced me to do an ugly Hanukkah sweater, and it was just, like, not part of, like, the whole culture. It was just like trying to switch something from something that it was not. It was just, I don't know, I didn't find it respectful at all. I guess that she tried to like make it fun, but I don't know. It's just like some kind of things like that that teachers especially need to educate themselves on to make sure that they don't offend other people. And I tried to explain that to the teacher as well, but she was like, no, you're doing it because everyone else is doing it. And she didn't realize that I did not want to do it. If the teacher would have asked me, like, since I didn't want to do the Christmas sweater, if the teacher would have asked me to still participate somehow by presenting my, like, holiday around that same time, which was Christmas time, I would have been more than happy to present some things that I hold dear around that holiday season, just because I like educating people about my religion, because I don't like when people are ignorant and just assume kind of stuff about other people's religions. So I would have been more than happy to present some things and explain some things if the teacher would have asked me to do so. I would love to thank all of the teachers that are watching this interview, just so you can educate yourself on some things that are different within Canadian culture and Jewish culture, or even Israeli culture. It shows real initiative for you to be open to even learning new things about other people's cultures, because it means that you want to better yourself as a teacher and be better for your students. Coming from an immigrant that lived here for 9 years, I would highly appreciate that as a newcomer. So thank you a lot.